basketball game the next day. I've been angling with the Magic Eden team people that I know to let them make me a captain for the Polygon team. There's going to be like 3 Polygon people there. So if I'm going to have to play with Salamis, at least let me call it the Polygon team.
Cool, cool. Yeah, there's all these. It seems like you've been in a couple of these basketball tournaments, like crypto basketball. There's a lot of crossover. So that's pretty cool. Quick temp check. What do you guys think? Like, I look at the yacht party flyers. First time seeing it. I love the double A. It was my profile pic forever. But do you think when people look at that, nobody knows what the hell it is? Like, should it
Alcoholics
be?
Anonymous was sponsoring the
Yeah, AA. I mean, I love it, but can we get something else? Like, how do you guys
I don't
feel?
know who
What's up?
gave that input.
Yeah,
I got you.
When I'm on video or pictures at events, I always wear my hat to the side, and it's because it's the only place on the new black hat where it says Aavegotchi. So if I wear it to the front, it's just double A. People don't really know what that is. But to the side, we still see Aavegotchi. So you should try to get the full logo.
I guess we don't actually have a version of our full logo with the gotchis and the word Aavegotchi, like the square one in black and white. I don't think we actually have that. That's probably why they picked that, because it was either that or the old 2D one, which we generally prefer to use the square one with the word Aavegotchi and the gotchis in it, but maybe we don't have a black and white version.
I mean, for like here, it's really square. It's basically a square logo that fits in that small spot. So it's like, you know,
Plus there's Solana Foundation down there. They got 4 logos worth, 2 logos worth, 2 or 3 worth.
They sure did. So, you know, I'd rather just have Aavegotchi spelled out any time. So I don't know who had input on it. Maybe it was Lost Local, but I just feel like, damn, like, AA, people don't know what that is. So,
They'll go with based on Eve Deborah because they saw that logo everywhere. And we drew, like, with a lot of these conferences, we tend to, like the BD side at least, we get some of the same people, some of the same influencers. So, like Profits Over Wages, he's a Board 8 influencer. She knows that logo because she has a sweater now. And same thing with Pro the Doge, like all these bigger influencers that I like follow and that follow me that I just ran up on in the convention with no shame. I was like, hey, you know me. Let me do a video with you and say something relevant. And yeah, so I think even just being on there is huge because this is going to be a huge party. Something like 1,500 people is the capacity. I believe we have 20 codes from what I've heard, team-based codes, and I'm going to be running around just doing BD and capturing content. So it's going to be the fun. It's an open bar, but I'm going to stay away from it for the sake of getting, because I want to try to edit a video before the party's over. So I'm going to have to really be on top of my game.
Good work, man. Gotchi's work, as they say. That's going to be good. And who else is confirmed going?
That I'm not 100% sure of. I know we have, I believe Sir Linkus is going to be there. Romhin, if I'm not mistakenly, if I'm not messing up his name. And then Lost Local. I'm not sure if there'll be anybody else local, but like Piglet can chime in.
And I see Renati on the call. Isn't he kind of sort of? I mean, I met him last night in FTNYC with you, so I was just wondering. I don't know where he's based, but if he's coming out from New York for this.
I was on a call with him yesterday, like begging him, and he's like, "Don't do this to me, man. I have other, I can't. You gotta like come to the yacht party. You don't understand. Like, it's gonna be fun, and the connections in the room are gonna be huge. So it'll be easy to. Because when I approach people at these events, my main focus is I talk to them about the DAO. Like when I talk about Pixelcraft and Aavegotchi in general, but I always pitch the DAO. The DAO is responsive. If you have a good plan, we have a bag. If you're going to build something useful and you can go through our proposal process and it's not just garbage, we will fund it. And then always Orium and also Aavegotchi, you know, those things make it in, but this is the tie with the partnership with the DAO. So I just tell them, I'm like, if we could double team this, that's great. Like, it's just an extra Gotchi gang member who's also doing, you know, repping, you know, innovation in the industry. So, but yeah, we should make him FOMO because I know he has other IRL plans that are important and want to come.
Well, I think he's on stage here, so we can hear from Hernani. What do you think, sir?
Definitely, I'm dying of FOMO, but after 2 years in New York, I finally decided to move. And it turns out I'm going to move a week before NFT NYC. So the timing was just brilliant there. I'm going to die of FOMO here.
while we got you here, what's going on with the rentals? I mean, your site's looking great. We've got Rarity Farming Season 8 basically upon us today. It's starting now, right? So, are we gonna? I feel like the meta's gonna get shaken up so much because of Origin this time.
Yeah, that's what we are hoping for. We soft launched the platform during December, meaning that we deployed the website with everything working on an additional domain, and we were sharing that domain, basically asking for feedback and for people's opinion on it. And now we are finally on the point where we are ready to have this publicly available to everyone. So yeah, if anyone goes to Orion.network right now, we basically deployed a new website which is focused on rentals. And right now, the NFTs that you can rent are wearables. And we're doing this in preparation for royalty farming. Like I said, by yourself. I think that the first snapshot is scheduled for early April. So by launching right now, we basically allow some discovery to happen. So people can start already listing wearables, learning how to rent them, just learning how to use the platform overall. We'll be also watching the Discord to make sure that if any issues are reported, we can fix them as fast as possible. But I'm confident. I'm confident. We did a lot of reviews on this, and yeah, everything is looking good. I'm excited to see what people are gonna do on rugby farming.
I've got a few wearables I might just put up for rent just to help see what happens. And I'm not really competing for the top spots, so why not contribute some valuable pieces and see what happens for people that are just missing that last piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that happens a lot. I'm particularly excited to see that one of a kind pieces, those godlikes that, sometimes they stay kind of idle in some Wales wallets. So I'm excited to potentially see some movement on that. How can that potentially shake up Verify? I mean, I myself, I'm talking with multiple godlike owners to check if there is the possibility of that. My God, she can get fancy doing this rarity farming season.
Have we? Do we have any legendaries or mythicals yet up for rent? And do we have the final URL? Like, is it absolutely live yet?
Yeah. I just posted in the chat the final URL. And because we only updated the website last night, I don't think people had the time to go through it and list wearables. A lot of the wearables that are there is just from the audience team that we listed just to have content on the website. Now is the time of the truth. We are hoping to see people start to list different types of wearables.
I also have a legendary wearable up there. I did rent it out as a test earlier in the week. I think it's still listed because there's a. I think I left on the auto relist feature. It was like point 0.1 ghost for a legendary royal crown. I have to. I don't have my ledger with me, so I have to go and check it. But yeah, I'm actually in talks right now with someone to rent a godlike wearable just for a day, just so I can do a video and play around a little bit. So hopefully that works out sometime early next week, and then I can get that content out. Also, real quickly, I just wanted to say, as part of the opening of our marketplace, we're going to be doing, because this is timed very well with rarity farming, we're going to run a contest where we're going to be giving away a fake gachi. I'll post it in here now. We worked with Soju. We commissioned Soju to create this piece to commemorate the launch of rentals of wearables. So renting is safe. We're going to make 100 copies of this. We're about to enter it into the queue today or tomorrow, I believe, but we're going to be giving these away over the 4 snapshots. So basically, for the first one, we're going to do it based on volume of wearable rentals. The top 20 will get a one of these fake gotchis, and then in the last 3 snapshots, we're going to switch it up so that it's a little bit more random. So if you are just renting, you have a chance of winning one of these fake gotchis. We'll probably give away 80, and then maybe another 10 during the Gotchi Battler once we have more solid dates. Because I don't know, does season 2 of Gotchi Battler, it's assumed to follow directly after season 8 of Rarity Farming, correct?
Yeah, I think we haven't confirmed the exact time with Indonesia, but yeah, it'll be something around that, like right after these two things.
Yeah, so we'll save some of those. I'm gonna put out a tweet on the giveaway specifically in a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna be giving out those this fake gachi. I love it. It has that OG fake the gachi gassy gachi on the coin, and then the milkshake looks great. It's just soju. Like after working with him in Miami, I like bugged Hernani. I was like, we have to make a piece with soju before it's too late. Because and I already think it's too late, friends. But that's just me being very bullish on soju. Yeah. So all you have to do is rent from the marketplace, and we'll base it on volume. And then for the other three snapshots, we're gonna mix it up a little bit to make it more random, so that we can just make sure that these get into the most people's hands as possible.
Yeah, we're also trying to coordinate as much as possible with games. Namely, Stradigachi and Drops, they have planned utility for wearables. So right now, I foresee most people renting it out in preparation for variable farming. But yeah, like I said, we're also coordinating with these games because we know that they have plans for um, uh, the utility of wearables within their games. And that's also another discussion that I want to bring up, which is I think I mentioned in one of the previous hangouts. Um, the games they have been asking us to essentially show the type of different bonuses that you can get by using specific wearables, and we kind of need some sort of DAO initiative to approve this data to be listed because we don't want essentially Orient to be saying, hey, Drop can put their attributes here, or Stradigachi can, and some other game is not ready yet for that. I think it should be some DAO based initiative. Um, yeah, I'm just wondering what you guys think the appropriate process for that should be a DAO proposal. Just trying to think on how we can potentially manage the way that game shares the different attributes that they want included on wearables or other DAO-owned NFTs.
Yeah, I think I remember we talked about that a little bit in another call. Definitely makes sense to have a standard. We're almost done figuring out our side on Spirit Force and Gotchiverse. We had to modify some of the original traits because we found that there was a lot of areas that didn't work. So we were planning to do something on our side and then see if people wanted to plug into that. But if we if like Dropped and Stradigachi have also made inroads on that, probably wouldn't hurt to put them all together in a doc and see how we could kind of standardize it a little bit more.
Yeah, we could probably do some sort of GitHub repository where the games are essentially submitting pull requests. They get approved by either the Pixelcraft team or appointed DAO members. My only concern is, for example, in the context of Aavegotchi, a lot of these traits they are on chain, right? So for parcels and wearables, they are off chain, but for on chain traits, it can be very tricky to manage this trait, right? So that's where I particularly would unsure on how to move forward with.
Maybe could you kick off like a DAO thread and we can bounce some ideas back and forth over there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask the team, Jesse and Coder Dan, with rarity farming, you actually shifted it this season. I think this is the first season, if I'm not mistaken, that we're now having a snapshot during the Hangout. It's happening at 2 p.m. UTC on a Saturday. What went into that decision? Like, what was the process?
I think the process was whoever made the prop put it on that date. Pretty simple. It should honestly it should probably be 10. Honestly, it'd be better if it was like 2:30 p.m. so that the hangout kicks off and then the snapshot happens. We might make a small adjustment there if that's okay with people. Because before, what would happen is we would have the call on like a Tuesday, and we would usually the snapshot was at like 2 p.m. So we would have to start the call 10 minutes early so we could have something we could talk a little be interesting to actually have a snapshot 30 minutes later so that we can kick off the hangout and kind of have it as one of the things to talk about in the hangout. Hardcore, if you're okay with that, sir, since you made the prop. So yeah, we might do that because it's nice to we want to have the like the meeting and all the excitement around rarity farming. At the same time, like having the schedule, we're quite busy at that 2 p.m. UTC time most days of the week now. So it just became really hard to like schedule that call at that time. That's generally when our team is like coming on and like we're awake and we're doing team calls and stuff. But Saturday, having ready farming is perfect. I love it. I think it's going to be especially spicy this season. All these new things happening. Gotchis being eaten. We got wearables being rented out. It's wild. We got a new top gotchi. Live is 600 PRS without any wearables equipped. Monster, man.
Are you talking about that 1000 XP gotchi or the 1000 BRS gotchi that's been making waves on Twitter?
Yep, yeah.
Man, that thing looks dope. I would not want to run into that thing in the arena.
I wanna see that guy's gonna be a beast in the arena, in the upper tier, and then in Great Battle Simulator. I think the thing is gonna whatever like round that Gotchi's in is gonna be making consistent new all time highs. I think. Can't wait to see that thing in combat.
Also, I just dropped in this thing from Rubber Ducky Point. It's like some Polygon peeps. They're doing a community raid and they tagged Aavegotchi, so I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. I think also there's a community war happening. I think sometime this week by Simply K. He did this last time. He let Aavegotchi know at the last minute, so we lost in our round. But I think we can easily win it. It's just like all these small Polygon communities raiding a space and voting for each other. So I'll.
I don't know. We already did the Ella thing. Not gonna like give another meme coin attention. Aavegotchi. Feel free to you guys can jump into it. Usually these kind of tweets just end up getting botted. Whoever pays the most for Twitter bots usually wins.
Man, there it is, Choina. Looking at that XP right there. It's like what 100,000 XP. That's crazy. That's what I was thinking. How many gotchis has this thing ate? It looks like 174,000 XP points. That's nuts.
This thing's gonna be a legend in drop too, right? Because isn't drop using XP for something? It's gonna be such an outlier in everything.
This is something I've been thinking a lot about, Dan. I mean, like we're talking about rarity farming right now. It's not official DAO matters yet, but Immaterial already kickstarted this loop of, rarity farming rewards going into games that are, plugging into the traditional rarity farming traits. I'd like to see even more allocated towards rarity farming funds allocated across all our games. Like we talk about rarity farming being newsworthy. What would be more newsworthy than a DAO giving away, let's say 500,000 to 750,000 in tournament rewards, over 3 months across many different gaming experiences, regardless of what you actually like. How many more people will that attract to the protocol, and how much more revenue could that generate for the DAO as opposed to the current way we're doing rarity farming? So it's yeah.
Have a way for people to like put Ghost in like an arcade machine, have a chance of winning that. Like there's got to be some way to get people coming in to want to actually contribute Ghost to that pool. Otherwise, I don't see how the DAO would make that money back. But it's a great idea. I mean, eventually these games are going to be to a level where rarity farming will like it'll probably the budget will probably be split maybe between trad rarity farming and like gaming rarity farming.
Yeah. And maybe it even makes a case for some of these games. Now that you mention that, I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe it makes a case for some of these games charging a little bit. Like when you go to an arcade, you put a token in hopes of winning like 50 tickets or whatever, and actually winning something more than what you put into the arcade machine. So that could be one way to look at it too. But maybe it's worthy of kicking off a thread while we're in rarity farming, and see if we can enact any sort of change, or if people want to enact change between this season and next.
Do we see? Do we want to talk about the announcement a little bit? The announcement of the announcement. Anyone curious about that?
The announcement of the announcement. What do you got for us, sir?
Oh, obviously we're not gonna give the whole announcement away, but I'm curious, like what are
Ooh.
say no one's guessed no one's earned that 18 ghost yet. I will say that.
Can I read out some of the guesses? I have Choina guessing Coinbase or Base, Colonel Sanders. I'm just looking at the thread right now. People saying ZKEVM, Gotchi Dex on Base. Again, another guess. Yeah, some protocols I'm not familiar with. Gotchi Chain Testnet, Founders Package. Are any of these hidden? 3D Gotchiverse. No, I don't think it's that one.
The China thing. I mean,
Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders or Base?
Solana, is that what it is?
China that is not on the GitHub repo, but whoever made that is great. I love it. It's good.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, we need this Gotchi. I need this Gotchi in my life.
Levi's work is done if we ever need a base copy. Let's see, what can we say? We're not, all right, Aavegotchi is not moving to base. I mean, our home is still Polygon. We're already going to be, Aavegotchi is deployed on Polygon. But we are, we got to find a partner to work with for the Gotchi chain. And we are exploring some options for that. Definitely exploring, before we commit to the final deployment of the chain, we're seeing what's out there. We're doing our due diligence.
Yeah, okay, I think that's pretty accurate. So it would also be fair to say that this announcement, like not to overhype it right down, like it's kind of a precursor to the. This is more of a technical announcement in some way. It's like a warm up for what we're all trying to do much bigger decision.
Yeah, there's some other stuff that we've pretty much made a decision about what we want to do, but unfortunately, I literally just can't talk about it yet. But we're saying as much as we can without actually giving away the announcement yet.
That's Slick's response. Days of moving to Gachi.
Are we making a supernet with Polygon? The supernets were canceled by Polygon, so no, we're not making a Polygon supernets. I think the only supernet that ever got into production was Doge. So no, we're not making a Polygon supernet.
I will say the tweet that went out, it offered 18 ghosts to whoever guessed right. Nobody's got it.
Nobody's got it. Yeah. I'm thinking about all the other major like gaming chains people are talking about. Like, is it maybe migrating to just trying to get another clue here? Is it migrating to another chain or provider that's known for hosting other gaming type experiences?
I think part of the issue here is this announcement coming on the 18th is not about like what Gachi chains stack will be. Is it CDK or something else? It's not that. It's something related to that, but it's not that. That's what I mean when I say this is the warm up, and then what the full final stack is
Hmm.
something a little bit later.
Yeah, we want to say it, but we can't yet.
Wait, so did Licky escape Polygon? That's all I need to know. It seems like that might be. He left the blockchain, or not left the blockchain, but he finally escaped.
Licky escaped. That's a good way to put it.
We just got to figure out which beach he's landing on in Mexico to just retire it out, right?
You can also see who interacted with the announcement. You can kind of see where things are heading in a little way. If you look at who retweeted or commented it. Can the team confirm that Polygon and CDK is still happening? Like I said, we're doing final due diligence on all the various options out there, and not confirming like a yes or no on that at the moment.
Yeah, I think Dan, you said in the chat here a couple weeks ago we were talking to I think by name and like Ronan and a couple other chains. We're basically talking to all the options.
I mean, yeah, like
Ronan was
Ronan
another good example.
Yeah, like we still want to do our own chain. Ronin or something like Immutable, just they're literally other people's chains that are also public chains. So that they were fun to chat with, but not really a serious like contender.
And so Polygon CDK is we put a lot of work into that. I mean a lot ridiculous.
We did a lot of work on the SuperNet for sure. CDK is actually pretty much plug and play. There's not that much work that really goes into the CDK itself, like deploying a CDK. You can do it in 30 minutes. It's more about the stack and the team behind it and the different various ecosystem pieces around it that really give it value.
I mean ag layer is very interesting. I mean that could do very, very well. So yeah, we're considering all options here. And the cool thing is tomorrow's out the thing on the 18th, it's not mutually exclusive regardless of whether it's a CD or yeah, bear that in mind. And over leverage on a huge announcement or something, but it's not that kind of thing.
It definitely confirms things in one way, but there's still a little bit left to which stack is actually going to be the final confirmation that will come out when the chain launches, pretty much. Maybe a little bit before that.
Other things going on. We got GDC this week, right? So this announcement, this initial announcement, will kind of coincide with that. And Boss Local will be representing Aavegotchi at that event. And I think a few people here in the room will be going, including Ash Hardcore and Hardcore's family.
I also heard that Hardcore has a pair of the Ray-Ban Metas, so we'll be getting some footage hopefully from that angle. That's unconfirmed though.
Yeah, that's good news.
Life's too hardcore, guys. Can't wait for it. Yeah, I think at GDC we're gonna be hanging out with what PGA. They got something going on there. What are some of the events we're gonna be doing at GDC?
Yeah, you guys are doing a booth takeover at GDC for Aavegotchi at the BGA booth. I think an hour each day. Something to that effect. That'd be quite good. Yeah, and shortly after that, like Musashi says, there's an FTNYC, and like it's just like only right now, like everything's happening in the U.S. And I think second half of the year is going to be Europe and Asia.
Yeah, this year I want to go to Korean Blockchain Week. And I want to go to like a blockchain thing in Japan. I'm gonna try to make that happen. And then at the end of the year, there is DevCon in Thailand. Anyone out here in Asia, let's all meet up at DevCon. I'm gonna really try to make that. I'm excited for that. Good chance to head out to Thailand for a bit. So if anyone is in the neighborhood, let's all meet at DevCon. I think it's like November 30th or something. Late November. But we gotta take Asia by storm because like that's big gachi, man. The big friendly gachi. We need to get one of those out here in Asia. I think it's gonna just crush it at like Korean blockchain week or something.
I'm actually aiming to bring gotchis to Africa. This is a bit on my radar for this year. I'll be most likely going to ETH Nairobi. It's going to be in September. It was brought to my attention at ETH Denver. I'm like, oh, I looked into it, and it's actually like a decent sized, not ETH Denver sized event, but it's like a sizable event, like a few thousand people at least. And I've my dad lives out there, so I'm gonna go see him and probably go. He's like all into crypto too, so like we might go hit that up and get Gachi Gang seated in Africa if we don't have any African Gachi Gang out there. I'm actually curious if there is like anybody like in Africa that has like gachis. That'd be kind of cool, actually. We talk about Asia a lot and America, of course, Europe. Oh, really? Well, that's pretty cool.
You got a new PFP, sir. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just hanging out using the dressing room over at aavegotchi.com/SDK, and the third thing is like, yeah, I've been making all these fun looking like gotchis that aren't real for me, but let's make the one that's in my actual PFP. And sure enough, all of those, well, with the exception of like the one I have here on the display has the champagne, which I think is also available. Gotta double confirm that. But I have a few variations. So I made the one with the mug, which is a bit of a older version. And yeah, it's like basically all my pieces are ready. The facial hair, the suit, all the slots have everything available. So I just dressed it up, took a screen grab, threw it in Photoshop, and got myself 2D PFP. So I think the next step is to automate that a bit, but can't wait to start seeing more 3D gotcha PFPs.
We got this. Just came in from Slama, I think yesterday. This is looking super fresh. Check out this, guys.
Yeah, that's what I needed. That was the hardest part. Like I had to deal with the background remover. This way made it a breeze.
Anyone, it'll be super easy. Is it just for marketing? I think we're gonna put it out in the main version, like whenever Slama does his next build, I think it'll be part of that. So it's not there yet, but it's coming. We're gonna get you a green screen, so we'll be able to make all sorts of gotcha gifts and stuff with the 3D gotcha.
The other thing I would request to him, need to put this in, is from a PFP perspective, you want the light on the face. There are a lot of dark shadows.
Yeah.
There are a lot of dodges. That would go a long way. We just need PFP mode, and then like everybody can connect and see what gotcha in 3D. And good to go. I feel like
I'm
that
trying to get the lighting
always
a little
good.
bit.
We can just keep adding things like this green screen. More and more useful. Is anybody else using it for anything in particular, or just enjoying the like Hefe? I don't think your set is quite ready, right? Maybe some of it. I think the poncho hat might be ready.
The hat's ready. I still haven't said anything because I haven't seen the poncho yet, and I just purchased the rare cacti as well, so I got like the shaman priest look going, and so I'm really looking forward to that when it's all finished up.
And what about? Have you guys been playing any SFA? How many badges you guys got so far? Don't sleep on those badges. I'm telling you. And that lava.
Yeah, I think that got lost on a lot of people. Like that was a bit of a soft launch, but the fact that badges are live now, that's really gonna make a big difference down the road. Badges are out there. What are some of the badges, Dan? Run through a few.
Some of them was like simple stuff like killing liquidators, killing like defeating gotchis. Those are the basic ones. There's things like how much spirit have you picked up, how much scrap have you picked up. Just really, really simple stuff. Then there's a little bit more complicated, like getting kill streaks. There's different levels for how many kill streaks you've gotten. Then there's loyalty badges that they're going to be like, have you logged in every day? Basically, like just stuff like that. Andrew should probably be talking more because he's done the whole spreadsheet. There's like 150 badges so far. And they're just gonna grow from there. The cool thing about badges is that eventually once we are actually on Gotchi chain, you'll be earning loot boxes every time you get a badge. You're gonna get like a loot box that you'll be able to open. That's gonna have some Gotchi stuff in it, which should be really, really fun. But in the meantime, start honing your skills as those badges are going to start having some meaning in a fairly short period. We're finalizing the Spirit Force version here. It's still not totally done. There's a couple of placeholder UIs and stuff still. We're getting very close. Getting excited.
What are your thoughts on? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, this is the first one, and like all the games that come with the Aavegotchi gaming console will have, the same benefits and the same like badge allocation system, and it's pretty quite powerful. It's all for your player profile on your gaming console.
Yeah, the DAP team is actually working on integrating the player profile that you see in Spirit Force into the DAP. That is going to be the home essentially of all of the Gotchi games. So things like Strata Gotchi and Drops and maybe Gotchi Battler. We want to, once we've done it first, we're going to start inviting like other games in the Gotchi ecosystem to create their own badges and use the same system that we've created. So we'll have badges and achievements across all of the Gotchi games. So like game developers won't have to develop that. Yeah, it's going to be that's the fun of having this whole community and ecosystem of gotcha games that we can all plug into the same tech and like people can play games, different games, but feel like they're still achieving in the same kind of universe. That's what it's all about. It's a companion across a multi-person game.
Oh yeah. I was saying, what are your thoughts on time sensitive badges? Badges that would be maybe only around for certain events, or like you can actually get the badge around a certain event or participating. You know what I mean?
The good news is badges in this new like achievement system for the player are so much easier to mint and like distribute than the Gachi badges. Like so much easier. Now that's not to say that we're still going to continue with the Gachi badges, but now we'll have like a parallel system that's for your individual player profile. For the hot wallet, we are going to be actually chatting with the team that we're working with on the login system at the moment, which is Third Web, and they're doing some really really big brain stuff with a lot of Web3 games. And I know their auth is still a little bit kind of funky in Unity, but we're going to be chatting with the guy who's really building the SDK and talk basically try to figure out what's the optimal way to handle hot wallets and cold wallet delegation and all that with Third Web. I know that's a really important issue. What we really want to have ultimately is a player profile that's kind of independent of any of your wallets, so that you could equip wallets and link them and stuff, but your badges would be linked to that player profile rather than one specific wallet. But that's still a little bit out. It's going to take some time to get that. So for now, if you're earning badges, probably would suggest earning them with the wallet that you are like your most longest standing wallet, the one that you want to be existing the longest. In this case, probably like the hardware wallet. But I know that there's been some issues with connecting ledgers and stuff. We're going to try to smooth that out with them on this call on Monday. So yeah, if you ever have any issues on the auth, feel free. Please make a support ticket, because that's going to help us talk to Third Web and like help them realize what some of the issues. We're a very Web3 native community, and some of the projects they might be working with are maybe a little bit more on in the mainstream. Like we're a little bit more on the fringes in terms of having like everyone use hardware wallets and doing everything in the proper way. So we need to represent our perspective to them and ensure that they're also building tech for like Web3 native things like us. But I could imagine we might be able to do something like logging in with a hardware wallet somewhere and then linking some other hot wallet to that hardware wallet somehow. So, yeah, we're gonna have to improve on that a little bit. And if you guys are at GDC, I know Third Web is gonna be there, so find them and like drag their devs into a room and just chat with them as well. That'd be cool. One of the guys from Third Web, Atif Khan, is going to be there. So you guys can go find him and chat about Gachi. I'm sure he'd be excited. He's the head of BD, I think, head of partnerships, or head of BD. All right. Let's see. Anything we didn't cover? Gold Cross on our side. Gachi. There's so many new food Gachi. Let me share one here.
Yes. Gachis, the hashtag Love Wiki campaign. I know we got a lot of fake gachi artists, but I don't see them contributing to it yet. This is your chance to switch things up, grab some wikis, and gachi cards and more. Miss out on that. So, I tweeted out the other day. I think I'm even going to take a shot at it since the landing page because Escape Capcom kind of shows you how to draw wiki. I think I can do it. So I'm gonna stick my neck out and give it a shot.
Nice.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite of the week too, Dan.
Yeah.
Like after Zubat kind of corrected a few things, it's
Yeah, Zbot
Z-Bot.
is he's the mastermind. Yeah.
So, but he said like it's got to top that first. So we can't top the women's.
That thing looks savage in the arena. I would not want to get hit with that. But I love the shading he did on that. How like it goes from purple to pink. It looks realistic. If that would be a real item.
Zbot has been intense with all the details on the 3D wearables, making sure that we have high fidelity to 3D one. Lots of back and forth with the artists, but in the end, they all turned out really well. Salute to you, sir.
I see Mike Helm also dropped Fake Wars in there. That's looking good too. I'm looking forward to seeing how that. I got a little quick trial run at Eat Denver, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the fakes and any fakes getting minted are going to plug into this.
Just a real quick plug. If you guys have not read the dev update, we did drop that. Quite a few blog posts last week. We got the dev update that came out. We also dropped the rarity farming announcement. People saw. We're also trying out on X. We're trying the new X articles to see how that performs. So far, according to Carla, it's actually done pretty good. So maybe some alpha with the X articles. If you haven't read the dev update, definitely give it a read. Lots of stuff, good stuff in there that we don't always get to cover in the Hangout or that people forget. So check out the dev update. Yeah, 12.8K views on the article. Not too bad.
Well, honestly, shout out to you guys for these dev updates and being so consistent with them. It was definitely a big selling point at Eat Denver, talking to people coming up to the booth or coming up to the arcade to sign the QR code, and especially the devs who are very into building games. I've had four different like independent game studios that have reached out to me, and maybe we'll get something out of it, maybe we won't. I'm not sure, but they all commented on the blog and how consistent it was. So
It definitely takes a significant effort to put them together, but we're getting faster at it. There's so much to cover. I know Carla is also going to be creating like a Google form or a type form for community projects because we love, obviously, we want to feature as much alpha from all the community games that are building. So, and not even games, like everyone. We want to give as many updates as we can until the DAO eventually gets its own kind of newsletter, which could be interesting. But for now, we're just throwing everything into the dev update, thinking it. So we will have a new form for you guys to submit stuff, just so Carla doesn't have to track you down all the time and beg you for updates. So we'll be begging you to fill out the form instead. And hopefully, try to give the team at least like a week so we can prepare visuals and all that to make sure everything looks great in the vlog. So expect a little bit of change on that while we try to help streamline the process a bit.
yeah, awesome. And just on your DAO point, I think there's definitely room in the Gotchi grants budget to issue some media-based grants for those sorts of things. Writing a newsletter, publishing live streams to the DAO channels, DAO Twitter. I own most of the social media stuff, so just delegating that out to people who want to get involved and issuing them bounties for that. But with that being said, friends, what do you say, Coder Dan? Shall we kick off the DAO? Yeah. This is so I'll reach out to some of y'all for next week. I don't think I'll be here for the entire call next week. So there's definitely been people that are interested in doing this. There's a proposal live right now, and there's at least four, I think maybe even six people that are interested in committing their time, their efforts towards this. The spots for four members. I can quickly go over the proposal actually when we go through the snapshot review for today. With that being said, why don't I share my screen here? I got my laptop back from the shop and clean your fans, friends. My fans were shot. GPU fan was shot. CPU fan was shot. The thing was just like overheating, and I've never cleaned it. I've had this laptop for like 3 years. I've never cleaned it. So that was my lesson learned. It crapped out on me at ETH Denver, so I wasn't able to actually do very much with it. But they, just got it back yesterday, and they're like, yeah, all your fans had to get replaced. I was like, oh, okay, I'll have to clean my fans more often. But we're good. Let me just share this real quick. Am I sharing the right screen? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, recent proposals that have ended. Agip 108 Gotchi Battler V1.5 funding ended with 12 million of quorum, 9.8 million worth of ghost for yes to fund it, 84% of the DAO in favor of, with 15% opposed to it. This proposal is basically going to bring into play some more gameplay balance, tournaments, training, lending, and the battle replayer. So overall, just improvements across the board with the Gotchi Battler. And this has been approved by the DAO for 120K for the upgrade. And there's the whole team there. Yeah, iTree, Coinmander, Deadfolk, Lavelle, Immaterial, and they'll be good. Next up, we have Rarity Farming Season 8 with Hardcore. Start date March 16th, which is today. 1.5 million goes from the player rewards wallet, 60% to BRS, 20% to kinship, 10% to XP, 10% to the Gotchi Battler for 7,500 Gotchis. Then we have Lend 600 Ghost to improve liquidity and order books on major centralized exchanges. This is a live proposal. Let me just make sure this is actually, this is a live proposal. 600K Ghost. The idea behind this is to actually improve liquidity across the board on major centralized exchanges, especially for people that are buying in large amounts of Ghost token without major slippage. And the trading itself will be done by a Skynet Trading. And the contract here will be lending 600K Ghost for 12 months. Yeah, and then let's look. Yeah, this one's a close one. So 50% of the DAO saying no, do not lend the tokens, and 49% saying yes, lend the tokens. 11 million worth of votes put towards this one.
But keep in mind, you've got to get the differential, right? So with two choices, an A, B binary choice, you've got to do more than a simple majority.
Yeah.
It's got to be a 10%. Yeah. So it's not going to win. Like, it's got to be 60-40 for it to pass. So if you don't mind, Happy, I'll say a few bits on
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. But it's totally fine. I think at the end of the day, my proposal here may have had some errors in it in terms of it's lengthy. It's some people commented it wasn't like easy to read and it may have been done on purpose, which I pushed back on. But wanted it to be thorough. So at the end of the day, I think it's kind of surprising to me, I guess, that some people feel and make comments that the Ghost token should not have market makers supporting the token on centralized exchanges. So we're talking about Binance, OKX, Goldie, those kind of places. It's just bizarre because, the way the market works, if you're not having a market that can manage liquidity, liquidity healthy with good spreads, tight spreads, and good order books, then you're not going to have people trade your token on those exchanges. And so we're listed on a lot of exchanges, but we're not trading them in any significant way. And we never will if we don't get a market maker. The curve is literally an AMM, an automated market maker. So when the curve closed, which we're at the 1 year anniversary of, 25% of that curve liquidity was allocated to being liquidity provisions for Ghost. I just think it's unfortunate that some of that has been used, all of it up to this point has been used for DEXs, but there's still, even then, millions of dollars worth of liquidity of DAI that have not been allocated to DEXs or SEXs. And so this was my, from my perspective, a small 600K allocation to put in, where most market makers expect $1 million plus deals. Skynet's been good to us for a year plus, due diligence done. They're not scammers, they're super legit, regulated, great KPIs. But if we can't even agree that we're supposed to have a market maker for our token on exchanges, then it's a bit of a non-starter. So I think there's a bit of a knowledge gap and a bit of like, everybody has opinions about market makers and it means different things to different people. But that's probably some of the reasons it failed. So with that said, I won't be putting it forward again or reworking it, but I do think that heading into this bull market, it's kind of crazy if the Dow doesn't do, take full advantage of that 25% that was allocated a year ago and put it to work in some way for Ghost. So somebody else should step up and at least at a bare minimum make use of that Ghost that was allocated, earmarked a year ago. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. No, appreciate you sharing that and adding context to this. I agree. This is definitely something, whether you voted for this idea or not, to actually provide liquidity to centralized exchanges through a market maker. When it was being handled by the curve before, it sounds logical and maybe something we need to brainstorm as a DAO. I know there was a lot of back and forth conversation around specifically Skynet, but people who had strong opinions in that forum post, I'd be kind of curious to know what the alternatives are. I'm not super educated on the sector, but if there is somebody in the DAO that knows other market makers, that'd be, in their opinion, alternatives to this. Definitely, like, let's get in that thread and or perhaps kick off a separate DAO thread on that. Okay. Then we have Agip 111 staking 350 ETH with Lido and acquiring our ETH. I feel like the wording of this title was a little bit strange because I think what this is actually proposing is 350 ETH towards Lido pool and 350 ETH to Rocket pool for our ETH. So it's actually a 700 ETH proposal, which, I mean, the DAO's in favor of it. 3.7% with the Lido pool, 2.94 with the Rocket pool, and we have 77% of the DAO in favor of, with 11 million Ghost in quorum. So this is hopefully, if these yields stay where they're at, we could see expected returns for the DAO of about 23 ETH, which is awesome. There were some smart contract risks. Of course, there is a smart contract risk when you're dealing with this sort of thing, but these are also very legitimate pools that have been established pools for staking ETH. Then we have Agip 1012 establishing an ETH sell ladder, proposing to sell 4 tranches of ETH. We just, for those of you not in the loop, our DAO bought over 1,200 ETH very recently, a couple months ago. And we are now looking at getting ahead of our own psychology and just having some preliminary like sell ladder points in place. So first one at 8,000 a unit, the next one at 10, 12, and then 15 for the final tranche. Aiming to minimize influence of market psychology and speculative behavior, especially when the animal spirits take place and we start to get very bullish on everything. 92% of the Dow in favor of a sell ladder, 7% against. Agap 113, gas fee reimbursement for Dow directors. This was a resubmission. It looks like it's met quorum now, so congratulations. This will reimburse Dow directors for their ETH and Matic that they use for Dow transactions only. And then last one here is my proposal, elected facilitators to keep these DAO meetings going. We have many upcoming leaders within the DAO, and unfortunately I can't do these calls as consistently as I have been in the past. So it's maybe time to have more of a formal structure in place for electing facilitators. And this proposal is what I'm proposing here is 4 elected DAO members uh, to keep to keep accountability there, but also make sure that we have enough in the loop that we'll never. What we don't want is to not have anybody show up for a DAO meeting or not be able to host a DAO meeting. So by having 4, we have some redundancy in place and taking some of the pressure off with these 4 having to. I do mention it in here. I believe 4 members taking on this role would take 1 week each in this case. So there's the job. I listed the job dimensions there. What you really need to do. The commitment is roughly 6 hours on usual normal volume week. If we have a lot of heavy conversation, maybe it could be upwards of 10 hours, including the DAO call, and that's weekly. So it's a kind of sort of a weekly ongoing effort plus the Saturday DAO call, organizing the agenda, reaching out to OPs and presenters, and creating a rough outline for the discussion. Term length is 6 months with an option to re-elect one of the members or multiple members at 3 months should they step down or cannot fill the role adequately. And the proposed compensation I have here is 500 USD per month per member, with a total of 2,000 USD for 4 members paid at the end of the month. And many have stepped up to nominate, especially ones I've spoken to myself. And so in the coming week, I'll reach out to you guys and drop your names in that post too, the forum post, if you're actually interested in this role. What I'm proposing is we do a simple soft election. It doesn't have to be in a snapshot style election, unless you guys feel the need to. Then we can follow up with a snapshot style election. But a simple Discord poll for nominated members seems sufficient for this first time round, especially since we do already have some interest. Not maybe not an overwhelming amount of interest, but enough that we have more than enough people for the role. So I've been doing this for 3 years almost, and it's been really cool. It's been a really great experience. I'm gonna still keep myself in the rotation in the future. Next time I have an election, see uh, if there's a capacity for that. But I definitely am looking forward to seeing the next 4 people come up here and actually represent ourselves as the DAO. Looks like 88% of the DAO is in favor of this proposal, 11% is against. We have 3 million out of 9 million quorum so far. There's a week left on this proposal. So, friends, please go vote on this proposal. I think this is going to be uh, this sort of communication with the DAO call is so critical to keeping things moving through the DAO and making sure everyone's getting addressed. So, hopefully we see 4 more. Well, not hopefully. We know we have 4 more coming up. So I'm excited for that. And that wraps up the snapshot review. Now, no futuristic Ernani. I see you guys up here. Orium has some announcements and possibly discussion, right?
Yeah, we announced the marketplace launch. I guess more of the discussion was about the profiles and the idea of like sharing data between games. But I
Okay.
feel like we're not into that earlier. I don't know if you want a full speaking slot.
Yeah, I've definitely allocated some time to you guys. I saw your message there. I've definitely allocated some time for you guys today. If you'd like to get deep into it and talk about the market, I know you have spoken about the marketplace, but feel free to get right into it, friends. This time is for you guys. But after that, we can talk about some other lower fidelity stuff.
I appreciate that, Hefe, but I do believe that we covered most of it previously. The main thing that we want to basically start the conversation with now is the idea that games they want to show their stats whenever people are renting, and I think I'm sure the same is going to apply eventually to the bazaar. And we don't want the burden on us to essentially decide which stats of which games we're going to show. So we thought that the best way to go about it is a sort of a DAO initiative to do that. But I'm going to follow Coder Dan's suggestion and start a chat on the DAO forum this week, laying out how I think we should move forward, and hopefully we'll have some more opinions on it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Other than that, I'm also looking to creating a proposal regarding royalties. So we launched the marketplace. It's live right now, but there are no royalties simply because the DAO didn't decide on a number yet. So I'll be drafting a proposal regarding some suggested scenarios for royalty, and the DAO will be able to give some input and choose what they think is most appropriate.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
I guess I'll also add we put out an announcement that we're going to be deprecating certain services and tools that we have on the site. It's not really a DAO matter, but just for announce it here. The lending operator, the everyday except the pen. That will continue on. These services will continue on, but they just don't get to different room and eventually will be deprecated. So we have assets on the
Yeah, we were talking about Point scholarships, which is our iteration of an on-chain deal, and also the lending operator, which was essentially a smart contract that would be continuously listing your Aavegotchi for rent. Because of the proposal that we passed, there will be a lot of changes on how gotchas are rented in the future. So what we did was, yeah, like what Richard said, we just moved that service to a different website. Yeah, everybody can still use it, but we are recommending everyone to withdraw it because once we change how Aavegotchis are rented, those services they will no longer be necessary because those features will be already embedded in the protocol. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm loving the lending marketplace, what that's going to do for, across all our different games and rarity farming. I'm curious to see this evolution because what you guys are doing with renting wearables, I don't know. I mean, Arnani, you're in the business, but aside from yourself, I don't know anybody else really out there experimenting in this way.
Yeah, it's the cool thing about us being able to specialize in rentals is that we can really invest on tooling and more features on top of this. So we are planning to launch a bunch of analytic features. For example, it's interesting for people to see the volume of these marketplaces, how much ghost is being traded there. It's interesting to see how many rentals are being how many NFTs are being rented at a time at different times. So we're planning to launch a bunch of analytic features, more search features for people to be able to find the NFTs that they're looking for. We can really focus something that because Pixelcraft is doing so many things, I think they're unable to do. So yeah, this is just the first version of the website, friends. We have a lot more cool things planned, and what we are hoping to do is as we launch
rental for land parcels and Aavegotchi, we are slowly going to roll out more features and continue building on top of this platform.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the developments and just hopefully rent out anything at some point, right? Rent out loot boxes or whatever. I mean, there's some really interesting ideas I have around that. Um, that definitely willing to share. And yeah, it's looking forward to it. Coder Dan, it was a pleasure, sir. We will see you again next week or sometime soon. Yeah.
Yep. Look forward to seeing people's thoughts on the announcement on the 18th. Have a great rest of your Saturday and Sunday. You guys keep going. I just gotta jump off a little bit early this week.
No worries.
Thanks.
Later.
Peace out.
Peace.
So do we have a little free time? Because I had a question that's Denver related for the DAO that I want to bring up.
Yeah, of course. The only thing, agenda wise for the rest of the year, Lagan's here too. Let's get him up here. We're going to free flow a little bit. So definitely you can take some time. And I'm going to just speak on the Dr. Wagme's proposal for 500 XP, just my opinion on it and, see what y'all think. But other than that, go ahead, man.
Oh no, you guys can go first. We'll handle the regular business now.
Okay, cool. No, I was just gonna bring up Dr. Wagme's proposal. I didn't get around to it last week, but just the idea of giving people 500 XP per proposal. I know hardcore. You and I were going back and forth in the chat just now, but uh, I think it's a great idea. In terms of like dollar amount, it's not a very large amount, and I think a lot of us in here have written proposals before. Aside from the work to just write it, you're putting yourself in front of the DAO, which is not always the easiest thing to do, and sometimes can be a little bit, uh, prohibitive. Like prohibitive to go do it. But seeing the light piglet thing, um, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I fully support. If Dr. Wagme, if you're in here, if you're gonna go ahead and write that proposal, Um, yeah, this is definitely something I support. What do y'all think about 500 XP for writing a proposal?
But there's an alternate take on this too, though. That we could. I mean, there's people that are opposing it based on like not wanting people to double dip or to profit from their profiting. But I don't really like that whole angle. But I do see a chance where we as a DAO could double dip, and like the nature of the DAO that I've seen so far is well, this is kind of a gangster DAO. It wants to dip its feet. The people in this DAO like to dip their feet. They don't want to vote for stuff that they're not getting anywhere, right? So we also have numerous discussions involving accountability and all that. And like, who wants to set up or put anyone in charge of accountability? Who wants to pay for accountability? So why don't we just kill two birds with one stone here and make the accountability be that there is at X number of days, say 30 days or 60 days after a proposal is implemented and officially done, there'll be a standardized type form, and you enter your Gotchi ID, and you enter your Discord ID, your Gotchi ID, and you have to rate you rate the proposal, and then you automatically get 5 XP for doing that, and then we make sure that the type form has a a precise way to. It ends up with the score. Like there definitely is room in there for free entry, but there's going to be points, and you get a score, a performance review, and then that's where the extra XP is. Because then there is no spam. You could get nothing. Like if you get a meh, you get nothing.
So is it like DAO members filling this in?
You get no extra XP. And if you completely knock it out of the park, and everyone's like, "This is the best thing ever," you completely changed everything. Maybe you deserve 1,000 XP. I don't know. But we could do a lot more here. I
can't see it.
And then that takes all the butthurt out of it, and the jealousy and the weirdness and the farming and the exploits and all that.
Yeah. Well, when you talk, go.
It's just this thing that we haven't been getting, which is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you've got to get sick of hearing this argument.
Yeah.
Sick of trying to fix it and getting shot down with, well, we don't want to hire people.
Right.
Staff, that's too much responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Other people have responsibility. I don't want it, but nobody else should either. Well, then everybody's got to be responsible. No one's responsible. Everyone is.
Hmm.
I think 500 XP is reasonable at the height of the ambassadors program. If you hustled your hardest, you can get 500 XP. It was actually 1,000, and then there was controversy, and I had to pull back. They wouldn't give you 1,000 XP for one gacha for breaking whatever records and whatnot. But 500 I think is reasonable. If you're writing DAO proposals, you are an experienced gachi. So I don't think it's that big of a deal because you need those people who are incentivized to play the game in certain ways. You can play it by creating content. You can create it by creating content for the DAO, which is needed.
Yeah, I'm also reading with
that example you just gave, man. That 1,500 XP. That XP was rare then. 500 XP is like a toilet paper gacha right now. I wouldn't kill something for 500.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what Flame's saying too. I think 500 to 1,000 XP for one gachi should be given to things we lack in: fixing NFT volume tracking, convincing to talk Golden Cross to talk to a marketing firm, talking to a marketing firm themselves, putting the games we have so far on Steam and other gaming. Okay, so what he's saying is extending beyond writing proposals. I think this is like a larger conversation in the DAO. Is there some sort of XP quarterly budget for actually giving XP out as a sort of incentive? It's a soft incentive though. Like for a lot of these things, I think people would want, if it's considered work, people should get paid in Ghost. If it's considered gaining experience, it's XP.
The answer to that is, well, you should vote yes for this so you get 500 XP when you write the prop about how people should get XP for doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an either or thing.
Yeah.
You should. I don't know. I think people need to look more into support the things that create situations for you to get the other things you want done. It's not just about it's not so. Not to have such tunnel vision.
Yeah.
A lot of times, these things that people fight against are just a base layer. A lot of the stuff that me or Wagner or pretty much me and Matt Wagner are always trying to do is we're just trying to put the base layer down so that someone else can do a thing and then someone else can do a thing. And there's always these weird accusations that the people that are doing a lot are trying to get themselves paid more. It's actually not the motivation. At least amongst, I mean, I'm pretty close with most of the people that do a lot, and all of us would prefer that other people did. We're not trying to get ourselves paid more. It's a combo of, well, if I gotta do it, I wish it was worth my time, and because then I wouldn't feel like a chump, and I wouldn't. I might do it quicker, and not have it become a chore at the end. And I honestly wish someone else would do it. Please step up. What are we going to do to make it interesting enough for you to care enough to do it? We're not trying to do this. End up doing it because nobody else does, and then here we are. I promise you, nobody that picks a bunch of props is trying to make a job out of this or get income from it. It's just a matter of currently it's not worth the accusations. It's not worth all the extra stress. It is stressful because by the time, if you chose to do any prop, the only reason you're really doing it is because nobody else is doing it and you think it's really important. And then there's this whole vibe of, well, shit, if I don't do a good enough job on it, it can be my fault that the thing I wanted to happen, it doesn't even happen. So you don't do it. It's a huge chilling effect.
Yeah, you're describing the apathy problem perfectly. But maybe it starts here with XP.
People, you know what? If other people would do stuff and fail more,
I promise you, like, you guys don't have to worry. You people that haven't done crops, like, try to run something home and it fails, we'll come along behind you and, like, dusty it up and get it to go through. Like, but, like, on the flip side of that, those of us that are doing a bunch of them and, like, carrying, doing scrape up duty already, there's no one to scrape up after us. Because, like, it's the psychology of, well, if those guys couldn't get it, it's just not happening. And then it's like self-fulfilling prophecy of, well, I'm not going to do it, you're not going to do it. Comes down to, like, buying beef halfway through the market. Yeah.
I see what Zeus is saying too. It's not really apathy, maybe some of it, but I think it's also not really knowing what is needed to get the job done. Yeah, you're coming in through muffled, man. I don't know what it is, but it's really hard to hear you.
I want to read what Al has in here because I think it's important. He says there's a balance we should have between prop offer, apathy, incentives, and diluting XP, or making it so that prop offering gets abused. Maybe this 500 XP is the way forward, but I just want to head some caution in design choice. There's pros and cons to this, like anything else. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, it's all about balance. I think people will write props. Like we're ignoring the fact that almost every prop that comes through at this point, there are protocol props, little props that we do, but all of it is financially incentivized. There's a treasury that these props are like advocating for granting from, like basically asking, hey, can I get some money for this, or can we do that? There are a lot of different props like to alter the protocol sort of, but this is all financially incentivized. So even if we didn't give more XP, I think people would still continue to do proposals because ultimately the goal is to get some of that money, get funding for your project, or do something like that. So it is definitely monetarily incentivized. The one other thing though is that, to successfully get the DAO to core is more than just writing a prop. It is lobbying. There's a whole bunch of stuff involved. So
Yeah.
we think that does have value that we're discounting here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
How about this one then? There's another angle on that. When we do the props where we put a bunch of people in there, and we give credit to everybody that participated, that gets divided up amongst all of them, and you get like 10 XP. So maybe we should. I mean, I'm not saying that each person involved, like, you should get the full amount that we're going to give out, but maybe it shouldn't be a straight like divide. Like if two people make a prop, like they get, they each get 2/3 of it or something. Like add a +1 to the division and of the map.
The success rate.
Like if there's 5 people, like we set a minimum amount. Like no matter if actually that might work best. So it's just very simple. Like if there's 3 or more, yeah. Once it hits three authors, all the authors just get 50. But like when I add this up today, if there's a multiple one in there, there's going to be some. That's where you get some weird XPs where people are like, "How did you get who got 7 XP? Who got 3?" That's how that happens. In fact, I've submitted somewhere someone get half an XP, or 17.5.
We are worried about XP inflation, but a counterpoint to that also is that eventually some of these games that we're developing by the DAO is developing is going to kick out XP. So XP inflation is not that great of a thing, especially if you consider. Think about for the Strategachi game. There is 200 XP up for grab for the top spot, which is great. I think that's the largest XP dole out that we've had for a game in a while. So I wouldn't be too worried about XP inflation. It's also the smallest rewards pool, even though there are advocates for changing that. I don't think 500 is too much, but I'm also not writing prompts, and I don't plan on writing any prompts. Maybe I'll write one in the future, but I don't really have any.
I think they're saying the XP inflation thing backwards. We've already had XP inflation. It's been years. We've been accumulating XP for years, and And yes, the games are going to start hanging it out for other stuff. There's going to be achievements in the games where you get XP. It's not just going to be the first time a game has a tournament that you get XP. Option, but let's be real, it's an RPG. The Gotchi Earth has an RPG. There's going to be XP involved. That's a given. So why not? I mean, it's it just makes sense. It's not going to hurt you. It's not that the XP inflation isn't 500. 500 is like raising the minimum wage to keep up with inflation. Like 150 2 years ago, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was all the XP from all the props ever written at the point, the first time that someone did it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was all the XP at one point.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm
Right?
just
First one, first prop to get it, that was all the XP.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, hardcore man. I appreciate you expressing your insights on this. I think a lot of people appreciate that. And why don't we, if you actually have anything more to say on this, definitely go check out Dr. Wagme's forum post. I think he's gonna write the prop pretty soon. But it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of opposition to at least the 500 XP. But it sounds like there's a larger conversation around just having incentives in the DAO in general, monetary and both XP. So let's keep it going, friends. I would like to, futuristic. You said you had something to touch on here regarding Eat Denver, right?
Yeah, so I want to talk to the DAO and see if there's interest. We met a lot of friends who are different chains, right? And some of these friends on different chains are making games and gaming experiences. So my question in general, as like a BD question when I go out to these events, are we interested in funding games created with our IP or for us? Think sandbox experience, put something on Solana or on Arbitrum or AVAX or whatever, even Bitcoin. I met some Bitcoin games, and they're like, "Yo, we love what you guys are doing." And I told them, "Hey, we got a DAO, we fund, but I don't know if the DAO is going to fund the Aavegotchi experience. That's the Bitcoin SAT that you go
Yeah.
to a website, they game on that. Like, is the DAO open to stuff like that? Because that's an important piece of knowledge for us as the breeders to go out into the world knowing, so that we can gauge, know which angles and verticals we should be going at."
See, that's something I'm genuinely interested in as well. Because I met somebody at Eat Denver. Actually, I've met a few people now at Eat Denver. One that's like a game studio with like 40 developers, but they're on Cosmos. They're on. Actually, they're not only on Cosmos. They're like on a side chain for Cosmos. So it's like a very niche thing, and it's like, okay, should Aavegotchi be on the Nibiru chain on Cosmos? I don't know, but the IP is powerful. You know what I mean? That's was my take with them is, look, even if we're not directly like on chain integrated into your games, having the Aavegotchi IP as part of your game could be very powerful even as a partnership. So I guess there's two parts maybe to this question. One's like, do we want Aavegotchi like assets directly plugged into other games? The other question is, do we want Aavegotchi IP plugged into other games? One's like much more easier to implement than the other one. But
I think both, because what you do is you have basically a whitelist. You know what wallets are available, and then you give them access to all of the games. If the game is on chain, and I need to have something, it could be airdropped to us as part of the funding proposal that we get access to it, or it could just be like a Nifty Island kind of experience where we get direct access to like a
right.
metaverse or something built for Aavegotchi. Like in line, think of a fake gotchi, but the game. It has to make and pass all those rules, but it could theoretically be on Solana or on Scroll or Arbitrum or wherever. Like, is the DAO, would the DAO be down for that?
Like I don't know if a lot of us here are Polygon maxis. Like I like Polygon. I think it's good tech. Even like hearing what's upcoming with Ag Layer and like cutting edge stuff like that, it's great. But like I wouldn't be opposed to that. Just being on a different chain might even bring people home. Right? Might bring them home to Polygon, where the gotchis actually live, where the gotchi verse. Well, we'll see where the gotchi chain ends up, but the gotchi verse is going to be on the gotchi chain. So, um, yeah, I personally, I don't think I'd be opposed to it anyway.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'll like, because there are teams that want to build stuff, and I've just But if they have a legit game plan and they have, so imagine someone wants to drop same situation, but they're doing it on Arbitrum. Would we fund that experience on Arbitrum for a game, Aavegotchi style?
Yeah, like I think that's a great idea. I mean, that's what I was saying to these other guys on Cosmos. I'm like, the Aavegotchi IP is powerful for your games, and also great for ours too. It's a kind of a win-win.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the whole thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, Flames also saying here, I'd be down for skin gotchis. Not sure about jumping between multiple chains, but I'd be down for just one more chain next to Ethereum and Base. I'm more interested that Pixelcraft and DAO talk to every project, especially ones on Ethereum without our utility depending on it, and just add gotchi skins. Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. Like talking to Orangey right now and possibly getting Aavegotchi IP into something like Fortnite is also a possibility. So like we're not even Aavegotchi IP, in my opinion, is not even limited to just like Web3 based games or blockchains. I think Aavegotchi IP could transcend and be part of like Web2 games. We're already in Genzo Kishi, which is like it's been a Web2 game that's been around for a very long time. So it's it hasn't not been done yet. Like it's been done. You know what I mean? Yeah, Flame Gotchi is not limited to just Web3 and 6 Gotchi traits. Goobs. Okay, you're running it back to the last topic. Real quick, we can just touch on this and then I see Lagan's up here as well. I'd like to give you some time on the call. So, what if DAO prop makers got badges to their player profile instead of XP? Badges that level up with more props that are made and get passed. Yeah, I mean, POAPs, proof of attendance. This is all part of it. I think this was the idea with the early DAO, early phases of Aavegotchi DAO. We are talking about how we could get badges in the future for voting on proposals, but it makes more sense for DAO prop makers to maybe get badges. Hey man, if Lagan or Soju made a badge that I could get for passing a DAO prop, I think even people that have never written a prop before will give it a shot just so they can get the badge. I think it's interesting. Something to actually ideate on. Maybe start a forum thread on and discuss. It's not a bad idea, in my opinion. SBT, yeah, Al. It could be like an SBT, so you can't actually move it. You can like have a piece of gotchi history stamped on your wallet. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'd like to give Lagan some time here, man. You've been doing some big things. Got a tournament going on right now. You got a game that I play is incredibly fun game. But I just want to know like what's been going on, man. Fill us in.
Hey guys, can you hear me well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just a quick announcement here. I don't want to take up too much time. Just wanted to remind you guys that we have the tournaments going on right now, and get in there and check it out. Check out the game. Try to get some high scores going. The tournament's going to be open for another 2 days, so it ends on the 18th at 10 p.m. UTC. Right? And yeah, the final thing that I wanted to say is that just a little bit of an announcement. We are we're ready to move into the next stages of Strategachi basically, and we've put our funding proposal up. Not as a SIG prop yet, but just as a document. So we're gonna face that right now.
Yeah, how's the response been so far to because you released the light paper for V2 just last week. So some people have finally read through it now. What's the feedback been like on that?
It's been really positive, man. I mean, it's been nothing but positive. So I figured I may as well
Yeah.
ask for money.
Yeah, exactly. Strike while the iron's hot, man. That's what I say too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we're ready to move on, guys. We made a pretty cool product. I think it's a banger. People are really enjoying the game.
I want to ask you guys if you've been playing. How do you like it so far? I've been getting a lot of people in my DMs telling me how much they really enjoy it. They've been playing for hours, and you can see that reflected on leaderboards. Actually, there's a couple of animals in here. They're going crazy up there. So yeah, pick up the proposal, give it a read, and then let's get the discussion going, and then hopefully expect the prop pretty soon after that.
Yeah, it's. I'll just say it's an addictive gameplay loop, man. I mean, once I figured it out, I think that's the biggest piece of feedback I got from ETH Denver, like people trying their game out, was it. There's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get into the flow of it, like I'd say maybe it took some people 10, like the people that stayed, you know what I mean, 10, 20 minutes to like really get the hang of it, and then those are the people that tended to stay quite a bit longer because they were hooked. But uh yeah, that's it's if there's one piece of feedback I could give just for the demo is if there could be like some like tutorial island style level, like level 1 is just like literally like taking you through tutorial, like this is what a solo is, like this is some areas where you might want to put it, you know, and like kind of like a more interactive like how to, that would go such a long way. I'm just talking about. I'm just thinking out loud for like full versions of this game. Maybe, hopefully, even V2.
I agree. I totally agree. That was actually something that I really wanted to have in this version, but I mean, we were running on really limited time and really limited budget, so we had to take some little bit of creative compromises, if you will. With the how to play section, introduce the videos. But if you take a look at the funding proposal, we made sure to that's one of the deliverables is to have an in-game tutorial. It just makes sense for a strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people love these games. Once they get the hang of it, they're hooked. So yeah, this is gonna be good. Like I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome, awesome.
So this tournament that you're running right now, what are some of the top prizes? Because the ATF actually, I think, funded this prize pool, right? Yeah, show some prizes, bro. Let's get people excited.
So I'm pretty sure I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure these are the highest XP rewards given out in the game before. So for first place, we have 200 XP and 250 ghost.
Okay.
So not bad.
Yeah.
And screenshot here. So yeah,
Oh yeah, there we
we
go.
have 100 XP, 120 ghost, and then 75 and 75. So this is the first of two early demo tournaments, and the next one we're doubling everything, double the XP, double the ghost.
Okay. I'm for it, man. I mean, yeah, this is cool. I mean, what are your thoughts on like maybe even putting up some wearables and stuff? Have you guys thought, or is it gonna be mostly Ghost and XP sort of prizes throughout the different tournaments?
No, actually, yeah, you're right. We are planning on doing that. Yeah, and I was planning on using the 1,000 ghosts to like purchase a bunch of wearables and stuff. But the way it worked out, there wasn't enough time to like get the secure the funding in time to be ready for all that. So for the next one, it's different wearables. It will be some high tier stuff, some mid tier stuff. Um, yeah,
We're ramping up to the grand tournaments. I like it. Gives people time, you know, friends. If you haven't played yet, go check it out, and yeah, maybe even drop the server link too for people who haven't joined, because we need to get more people up in here, man. We need to get more people on those leaderboards. How many spots on the leaderboard right now, like for people competing? Is it like top 100 or top 50, or like how's it working?
okay, so it's different. For XP, it's the top 200 paid out, and for Ghost, it's the top 49.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So yeah, we cut the tail a little bit short on the Ghost so we
Yeah.
can juice up those top prizes.
Yeah.
I think people will appreciate that.
Yeah. That's the play.
speed up the competition a little bit. And then we'll just hop on in. We're giving away cool prizes and stuff. We're about to announce a little bit of a mini community competition in the Discord again. Um, we're going to be asking you guys to help us come up with some new taunts for the liquidators. Shout out Cryptogotchi for the last one. Yeah, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a giveaway in the Discord. So hop on in, give us some cool ideas, and your work might end up in the game.
Awesome. Yeah. Anything else for us, man? This is awesome. I appreciate you sharing this with us today.
Thanks, man. No, that's all for me, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So just a couple last things. If anybody has, feel free to, if you got any announcements, things you're working on. Mike Helm, you're working on Fake Wars. If you got anything there, I don't know if your mic's working or what's the deal with that, but you're welcome to share. Anything anybody wants to share here. We got a couple minutes left.
I kind of agree with you, Crypto Green. And I wish I would have pushed for more XP because I was having a talk with Dan about it. And he was like, we normally give out 5, 10, 15 XP based off how you play. But he's like, I don't see why we couldn't bump that up a little bit. And then I proposed bumping it up a lot. I gave him the numbers. And like, what do you think about this? He's like, yeah, that's fine. Run it. I was like, damn, should have asked for more. But yeah, hopefully down the line, to do that, bump up the XP prices. I think it makes sense to do it through gaming.
Yeah, I mean, just tying back in with our previous conversation with hardcore and everything around XP in general. Maybe this is a thread we can spin up collectively as a DAO across people who are building games, writing proposals, to have a quarterly XP budget, like a run rate for XP, and maybe just as a DAO agree on what that could look like, both being sustainable but also like giving out valuable amounts of XP for things. And then having different tranches for gaming, having different tranches for proposals. I feel like that could be a really good way to approach that conversation.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about XP inflation at all because Augie's just going to eat it all up at the end. So
Right.
why not?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh man. Okay, friends. Well, I only got a couple things for myself. I'm doing a show, a DAO show, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm covering basically everything happening in the DAO space. And so that's live on Twitter. It's also on my YouTube channel, DAO Vision. Put other videos up on there as well. That's what I've been working on right now in the meantime, is my little side project. And I'm having fun doing it. But y'all are welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings for a little DAO talk. That's all I got.
Real quick, you say you got stuck on the loading page? Are you impatient? Because like the first time the game loads, it takes a little bit longer.
Well, no, I had this when I was in Denver. The internet sucks, so I could never get it up and loading on my laptop. This is the first time I'm loading it on my desktop because I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, so like just
Like I want to play
a little bit longer than expected. Take a little bit longer than expected that first time. But after that, it will be done.
No, because my computer's doing this weird, stupid thing that every time when I shut it down, it basically logs out of everything. So when I come back, I have to sign back into everything. So like Smash Cards as an example, I have to change the settings down because if not, my computer crashes from playing on the high settings that it auto defaults to. So it's just a pain in the ass. But I'll sit here and wait for the load.
Well, Eat Denver, we're also running them on Raspberry Pis too, so that didn't help.
Well, no, I meant on my personal computer. Like,
Oh, gotcha.
like on the Wi-Fi from my phone, basically.
All right, friends. If there's nothing else, I feel like we could wrap this up. If there's nothing else, yeah, let's call it. And I hope you all have a good weekend. Play some gotcha games. There's a lot. We got Stratagotchi. There's Dropped. There's all the Gotcha Guardians, the Arena. There's a lot to play here. And enjoy yourselves. I don't think there's anything left here to say. I will probably not be here for the whole call next week. So if you're interested in hosting the DAO call, giving a shot at it, or you're comfortable doing it, definitely reach out to me. Otherwise, there's a few people I have in mind I'll reach out to. And yeah, echoing what Choina said here, stay awesome. Stay awesome. Later, friends.
Thanks, Aavegotchi. Peace out, guys.